And welcome to the Aaron Katsman Show. I'm your host, Aaron Katsman. We speak about your life, your money, and your investments. And as always, we're coming to you from the spiritual and soon to be financial capital of the world, Jerusalem, Israel. If you like this content, please hit the like button below. If you've not yet done so, please go ahead and subscribe to both the YouTube channel and to the podcast. And if you think this might be of interest to somebody, why don't you go ahead and hit the share button and you can share it with them as well. So I'd like to speak about spending money, maybe increasing spending money. I know you are thinking, well, Katzman, that's out of character, right? You preach being a miser, never spending, saving, saving, saving. The fact is that he's not true. I do not believe in being a miser. I believe in being intelligent. I believe in making sure that you can take care of yourself and you have enough money for that and you don't have to go move in with your kids when you get older. That's things I believe in. But I also believe you can spend in money. Now, people have commented that they think as I get older, I've gotten soft and that I am opening up the purse strings and encouraging people to spend more. That might be true as you go through life, right? You're influenced by other things when you're in your 30s, 20s, 30s, 40s, right? You're more ideologically bent on this kind of stuff. You say, oh, you got to save, you got to save, you got to save. And you get a little bit older, you have perspective. People pass away, loved ones pass away. You realize that time is getting short and you want to create memories. You want to do things. You want to use some of the money that you've been blessed to have. There's nothing wrong with it. So Ben Carlson over at Ritholtz has an article titled The Midlife Spending Crisis. He says, the problem with most retirement calculators and spending rules is that they assume life is linear and static. In reality, life and spending tend to be very lumpy. JP Morgan's Guide to Retirement has a neat breakdown of how spending tends to change for retirees as they age. They looked at average spending levels for retired households with between $250,000 to $750,000 of investable assets. And what you see is that they spent more in their 60s than they spent, as they get older. Every 5-year period, people tend to spend less. Certain things are consistent. Healthcare goes up a little bit. Housing pretty much stays the same. Food more or less stays the same, drops a little bit. But the big ones are more that is other discretionary stuff, whether it's entertainment and travel. And that obviously decreases as one gets older. He goes, the amounts don't matter as much as the trend. You can see spending peaks close to retirement age and then declines as you get older. This trend is backed up by the Bureau of Labor Statistics data as well. We see that, spending sort of peaks between the ages of 45 to 54, which is clear, right? That's when you have your most expensive decade, right? You have multiple obligations. You've got children. You have tuitions. You might have some weddings. You're still good chance you're still in your mid to early mid 40s to early 50s, still trying to pay off a house. So that's sort of the peak. But then we continue to drop as we approach retirement age. We've already dropped, and then we continue to drop and drop and drop. He says this one starts early and shows spending ramps up as you age, peaks in your 50s, and then slowly falls from there. The reason for this are pretty obvious. You generally have more responsibilities in your 40s and 50s. Maybe your kids are on the payroll. Maybe you're paying some college tuition. You might have aging parents who need help. You're in your peak earnings years, so there's lifestyle factor too. Your spending is higher in the early years of retirement because your health is better as well. It's much harder to travel and be out about in your 70s and 80s than it is in your 50s and your 60s. Harvard researchers looked at the relationship between health, life satisfaction, and consumption in a piece called What Good is Wealth Without Health? It's not surprising that your satisfaction with life declines when you're not healthy. Even if you have plenty of money, your satisfaction declines as you become unhealthy. So he says, here are my takeaways. Spend it when you can, enjoy it. Many retirees are reluctant to spend money for fear of outliving it. But if your wealth peaks when your health begins to fail, the money doesn't bring as much satisfaction. You spend more money when you have the ability to enjoy it. A bigger pile later in life can't buy back your healthy years. You should have multiple retirement spending plans, he said. When my friend Tony Isola creates retirement plans for clients, he prioritizes a first decade spending plan to account for the fact that most people run out of health before wealth. Retirement planning should take into account how lifestyle will change as you age. Maybe your net worth should peak sooner. Spending peaks in your 50s for the average household, but I'm guessing the net worth high water mark comes sometimes in their 60s or their 70s. I've been thinking lately it might make sense for your net worth to peak in your mid 50s while your spending does. Spend down some of your money while you have your health. Spending is likely to slow down in your 70s and 80s when it's less comfortable to travel and be active. When your health goes, all you have are your memories and more active experience. Create them while you can. So I have what to say about this. I do agree that we can spend more. I also agree that I don't agree that there is a big danger if you're encouraging people to really blow it out and live it up when they're in the 50s. Because God willing, if they make it to their 90s or even 100, there's a good chance they're going to be broke, right? Not everybody's going to retire with $10 million in the bank, right? If you're retiring with $750,000, Social Security and dividend income ain't gonna cut it for you. That's number one. Number two is a different approach. This is an approach a lot of my clients have. It refers to what I wrote back in my book 10 years ago. And that's that we're not only trying to create as much, to generate or to assemble as much money as humanly possible and then spend it down. That might not be what all of our goals are. For many of us, we want to take care of ourselves, make sure we have enough in retirement. But the bigger question is, when do we give? When do we help out our kids, our grandkids? Do we do it while we're alive and we get more enjoyment from the giving? Or do we give it posthumously when we've managed to take care of all of our needs and whatever's left is left? And then the kids, grandkids, whatever it is, however you set it up in your will, they split the money. This is something what he doesn't refer to at all in the article. There is no sentence that has to do with giving, whether philanthropic charity giving or giving to the next generation. For me, for my client, that's the most important part. The debate is when to give, I mentioned, right? Many people, as a financial advisor, as a financial professional, I would say, well, you know what, it makes sense to give it posthumously. Make sure you've got enough to take care of yourself and then leave everything else to your children, to grandchildren, whoever you want to leave it to. That's all fine and good. But when your children retire and then they're inheriting, the money doesn't serve quite the purpose as it would do if they're in their 30s and 40s and maybe even struggling financially. Whereas if you gift them, you help them out a little bit here, you have a little there, you pay for braces, you might pay for extracurricular activities, whatever it is. I'm not even talking about weddings or whatever, but chipping in to help defray costs. That can really, really make a major impact on the life of your child by helping them out, even with small, very modest gifts, as opposed to waiting and then leaving them with a lot of money at the end. It's something to think about. It helps more to give while you're still younger and you're still alive. It helps the recipient a lot more, and it gives you the satisfaction that you're giving now. And many of my clients who have the wherewithal choose that approach. I would say that's probably the most popular approach of my client base. And then obviously number two is to take care of yourself, but leave the rest to your kids. Number three is what he's referring to, which is sort of like just spend it all. Make sure it's gone, right? He doesn't exactly say that. Maybe I'm not being fair, but it's a little bit implied because there are no other words in there that have to do with giving, children, charity, any of that. So that's what I'm left to think about when I read the article. Not to criticize, I love his work, but I think here there's maybe cultural differences. I don't know what it is. But there is a big difference in something that you should think about, right? It shouldn't just be, wow, I'm in my 50s. Let's just live it up. Let's take massive vacations, fly around the world. Let's blow out our money now because, all the data shows that we're going to spend less and less and less as we get older. So why not spend it now? And we're going to have it anyway then. That's great, but maybe think a little long and hard about ultimately what's the point, right? Is the point just to race your money to the grave and be left with nothing? Or is it to try and help people when you're able to and when you can enjoy it and when they can benefit for it? Or is it to help people after you've taken care of yourself posthumously? Or is it just to live it up and whatever happens after that happens after that? Something to think about. I know what I choose, but you are free to choose as well. If you want to have a dialogue about it, I'm open. I'm always willing to talk about these types of issues. They interest me to no end. You've been listening to The Aaron Katsman Show. We speak about your life, your money, and your investments. If you like this content, why don't you hit the like button below? If you've not yet done so, please subscribe to both the YouTube channel and to the podcast. And if you think somebody may find this of interest, why don't you go ahead and click the share button and share it with them as well. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll speak to you soon.